Dear brothers and sisters, as ever, I hope this finds you well. It's been so long since I've shared. I've actually been meaning to share this video for quite some months, so I apologise for the delay, but some of you may know that I suffer from a disability and it's kept me very limited in what I've been able to do for several months. I'm a bit better now, so I'm going to do my best to finally put up what I prayerfully believe the Lord would have me share. As so much time has elapsed since I began this around Purim this year, so March 2024, I did ask the Lord if he still wanted me to share, and he made it very plain that he did. So I guess this is for somebody out there. Whoever you are, I pray this strengthens you in the waiting. If you have not already seen my video, which is called Are You Walking in Victory? May I respectfully suggest that you do. It's only 8 minutes long, and it will lay the foundation for what I'm going to share now. So this is one such video sharing something that did not come from a dream or a vision as such, which is how God usually speaks to me, but rather by his presenting me with a series of breadcrumbs, which all tie up together to form a beautiful message, and he tends to do that with me as well. So the background to me sharing this today is that back in March I was going through something of a struggle, and as so often happens in life, I find myself going through fresh struggles at the moment. Life can often throw shocks and difficulties our way, which can leave us feeling heavy and burdened. We can all undergo attacks at certain times. You might want to see my last video. We can undergo and experience shaking, which you can hear about in my previous video, and also painful and trying and even frightening circumstances. You might want to look at my Hey video for that. But in each case, God is sovereign, and we can run to him for guidance, support, deliverance, whatever is appropriate in each case. On this occasion, I'm looking at circumstances that can sideswipe us, leaving us hurt, confused, disorientated, and unsure how to proceed, all of which in turn can leave us burdened if we're not careful. The context of me making these notes in the first place goes back, as I say, to March of this year, just around the time of the Jewish feast of Purim. Something happened to me at that time that left me feeling, well, crushed. I choose the word carefully because I was talking to God about this and the word just leapt from my lips, crushed. It struck me that this is actually a powerful word and one that we do not use lightly, but it was the right word. I suddenly felt that this word was significant. So the next thing that flashed across my mind was, I need to look this up and see what the word is in Hebrew. So I did. So the background study on this is that there are several words linked to crushing, but the first one that came up when I checked quickly on my phone was this word, which is pronounced pour. It means to crush, to break, to bring to naught, to break, frustrate, destroy, and even shatter. So we can see that here. It's derived from the noun for a wine press, and it has to do with crushing. So here you can see the word pour, to break, and it's from the wine press, which is this word here, pourra. Okay. But it is also linked to this, so you're going to have to keep up with me here. It is linked to lots, as in casting lots, which are small pieces called pour, the plural of which is purim. Interesting, because that, of course, coincidentally happens to be the name of the Jewish feast of Purim, and which also, coincidentally, we in my church at that time had just been studying in our home group as we were studying the book of Esther, which is all about the feast of Purim. So there are no coincidences with God. He has really got my attention. We've got Purim, we've got lots, we've got crushed. Well, let's see. So the next breadcrumb or perhaps the first breadcrumb that came up, if I can put this into order, was, as we've seen, it was derived from the noun for wine press, crushing, linking to being crushed. It's also linked to lots, and it's linked to casting lots. So we've got crushed lots, casting lots, and small broken pieces, or pour, or purim. So we've got crushed lots, casting lots, and broken. So breadcrumb number 2. Those are my first pieces, which I'm holding on to. And that night I went to bed, as I often do before I go to sleep. I read one of my favourite Hebrew professor, Chaim Ben Torah's word studies, as they always bless me. So when I went to bed, I looked up just to see what the next one was that came up chronologically on my phone, and this is what came up. So on first inspection, it seems to have nothing to do with pur or purim or crushing or brokenness. But I don't know if you've spotted it, but it contains the word lot. How about that? Now, this does appear to be an unrelated word, as it's referring to parcels of land and or just the way of one's life or one's worldly fate. But as I began to read, I found it was actually closely linked, because when I opened it up, I saw that the scripture that he'd taken this word from, that he was doing the study on, was this one. Hebrew word study, our lot in life, Yahav, and it comes from Psalms 55 verse 22. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. So it's about lots. And what do we do with lots? We cast them. And what is it that can make us feel crushed in life? It's a burden that can make us feel crushed. We have a burden which crushes us. And when something is crushed, it breaks. It breaks into little pieces or lots. What do we do with lots? We cast them. What else are we supposed to cast? We're supposed to cast our burden. We're supposed to cast our burden onto God. The next thing that happened was that so this is breadcrumb number 3, I opened up my phone to search for something on YouTube. You can see exactly what my wording was that I was searching. I was looking for Esther, 1946 in the Bible, Haman, Hitler's 10 henchmen. I wanted to look at a video that I'd seen about this. There you are. It says here, since you searched for 1946 in the Bible, we've given you this. I mean, I don't know about you, but to me this is completely unrelated. How is it that I put in search words Esther, 1946, Haman, Hitler's 10 henchmen, and it brought me to 1 Peter 5:7, which says, cast all your anxiety or your cares on him because he cares for you. Well, I thought that was extremely odd, and I had to just assume and conclude that this was another breadcrumb from the Lord, because it is the sister verse and it links exactly to Psalm 55 verse 22 that was in Chaim's word study. Cast thy burden upon the Lord and he shall sustain you. Amazing. So what about breadcrumb number 4? What happened next? Well, the next thing was that very weekend, because this was all just happening over a weekend, a couple of days, I visited a friend's church on the Sunday evening over that Purim weekend for a separate event. I hadn't been to this person's church before. It was completely unrelated. I had no idea what I was going to experience. And what did I find? The pastor had chosen a text for his message that night, and he'd chosen Exodus 18, especially verses 21 to 23. And this is all about Jethro advising Moses not to try to carry the entire burden of counselling and judging the people in his own strength, but he advised delegation, stating that if you delegate or share the burden or cast the burden off, then you will be able to endure. And interestingly, just remember this, it says God commands you to do this. We'll come back to that. So I guess you've spotted it by now. This links so completely with Chaim's study, Cast Thy Burden Upon the Lord, and also the sister scripture that came up when I searched for something completely different from 1 Peter, cast all your cares, all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. I mean, wow. I mean, only God. I'm blown away. So the background study for this. So I have to say, the only thing that bothered me slightly about it was the sort of the fate and the chance element and even the divination element around the idea of casting lots. It's a very pagan thing to do, I thought, because apparently in this particular context, Haman cast lots to see when would be the most fortuitous time for him to carry out his planned destruction of the Jewish people. As I was thinking about this, I was suddenly reminded actually about the thing called the Urim and the Thummim, which were a type of lot that were used by the Jewish high priest, Urim meaning lights and Thummim meaning perfection. So the priests, this was not a pagan thing. The priests actually submitted the decision-making process not to chance nor pagan practices, but they submitted it to the sovereign will of God, like laying out a fleece, I suppose, and God would honour this and would give guidance through these lots, these Urim and Thummim. So at some point in history, these lots were actually lost, but they are not needed nowadays, thankfully, because we, as believers in Yeshua Jesus, we can cast our burdens, our problems, our decisions, our every next step onto him, onto Jesus Yeshua. He is our high priest. He is our light, our perfection, and the perfecter of our faith. And we can trust in his love and rest securely in the knowledge of his sovereignty. Amen. So what is the takeaway from all of this? Well, here I have to rely rather heavily on Chaim and his word study that he did, that I was sent to, on the word lot. So I'll take you through this now. So here it is, his word study, our lot in life, which is derived from the text in Psalm 55:22, casting our burdens on the Lord. This is what Chaim had to say about these. He says, this is such a wonderful promise that the Lord will take on our burdens. It is such a wonderful verse that I'm a little afraid to put this verse under my microscope. Maybe it doesn't mean exactly as it seems to come across. No, that can't be. The very nature of love is that you want to bear the burden of the one you love. An old Jewish saying is that a mother is only as happy as her saddest child. If a mother longs to bear her child's burden, how much more would God long to bear our burdens? What I think bothers me about this verse is that it's not saying lay your burdens upon the Lord, but cast your burdens. Then, once you have done that, he sustains you. If we cast our burdens upon him, does it not follow that he is sustaining us? Just what does he mean by a burden? I suspect this verse bears a deeper hidden treasure than what is already apparent. First, we need to examine this word cast. It is the word haslecha from the root word shalach. That hey in front of the word indicates that this verb is a verb which is causative. It is also in an imperative form, which makes it a command. I mentioned that before. God is not asking us to share our burdens with him. He is not coaxing us and trying to get us to let go of our burden. He is commanding us to release that burden upon him. He is causing us or making us cast our burden on him. Why is it so important that we share our burdens with God, that he literally commands us and almost forces us to share our burdens with him? In the Shakespearean play Julius Caesar, Brutus is very burdened over his role in the coming assassination of his friend Caesar, and his wife Portia senses his burden, his secret, and tries to get him to share that burden with her, but he refuses. She then demands that he share his burdens with her, otherwise she will not be worthy of being his wife. She is so disturbed that Brutus will not share his burden with her that she poisons herself. She feels she has lost her husband's love because he will not share his burden with her. I believe that is why God uses the word shalach in an imperative form. God longs to be a part of our lives. He is married to us. He loves us. And his love demands that we share every aspect of our lives with him. If we don't, we will break his heart, as Brutus broke the heart of his beloved wife Portia, because he would not allow her into this one secret place in his life. The word burden is interesting here. It is the word yahav, which is the word for a lot, as in the casting of a lot. You see, when the Jews entered the promised land, God gave each of the 12 tribes a portion of the land. That was their tribe's portion. Then the tribes would divide their portion up into lots, so each family had their own little plot of land to cultivate. However, some families got rocky, poor land, and others got rich, fertile soil. That hardly seemed fair, so what they did was once a year they would exchange their portion of the land with each other by casting lots. If your lot fell on poor land, well, that was where the saying comes from, your lot in life, at least for that following year. That brought me to this verse, where God is saying, look, I gave you that lot, now just cast it to me. I want to do something with it, something you can't do with it, okay? Trust me. I want more than ever to carry your yahav, your burden, your lot. I've got your back. I have and will continue to sustain you. I checked out that word sustains in Hebrew. It comes from the root word kul and has the idea of containing a measured quantity, filling a vessel with provisions, with sustenance. Only it is in a PL intensive form. What God is saying is, no matter what your lot is in life, shalach, cast it to me. I have plans for it, and I want more than anything to fill it to overflowing. Which I have to say reminds me of the story of Elisha and the woman who was in such a desperate situation because her sons were about to be taken into slavery because she couldn't pay her bills, her debts. And the Lord, through Elisha, sustained her by filling all the vessels she could get with oil to overflowing. So, what do we take away from this? What is the takeaway? What is wisdom and oil can we take away? It seems to me that God went massively out of his way here to weave together a very clear message. He does not want us to be crushed into pieces, into lots, by the heavy burdens that life can lay on us. He has given us a lot, and he wishes us to cast this lot and all anxieties and sense of being burdened onto him. He wants this so much that he does not just invite us to do it, but he commands us to. And he is so insistent that we do so, that if we do not do so, he feels betrayed and we run the risk of breaking his heart. It's almost a kind of idolatry to hold on to that burden, and it certainly speaks of doubt and unbelief and not trusting him. We need to cast it and throw it quickly onto him so we do not break his heart. He cannot wait to take this weight from our shoulders. Did my own little wordplay there. And he wishes us to trust him completely with whatever problem, burden, or lot we have been dealt. As we relinquish these to him, we will experience his amazing, sustaining love and peace. So please keep looking up. He will come back for us. But as we wait, let's remember no one is promised tomorrow. If you are not right with the Lord, please come to him. If you think you have travelled too far or can never be forgiven, please pause this and read this story, which totally reflects the heart of God towards you. He died for you. What more must he do to demonstrate just how much he loves you and is prepared to forgive you and accept you if you turn to him? And as we wait, let us keep our garments clean and do all we can to lead others to him, but with a light heart, not weighed down and burdened with the cares and worries and burdens of this life and this world. If you would like a prayer sheet to go with this topic, please message me and I'll happily send you one. Please state it is for this topic, God bears our burdens. I'll put my email address in the information box. So in the meantime, I really hope this helps you to cast your burdens on him. And believe me, I'm having to do this right now. This is the second time I've made this video. I have not had so much problems trying to put a video up in my life. Halfway through making this, I had an attack of my disability. I had to pause it and go and lie down. It has been like running through treacle, but I have persevered and I've put it up. And I pray, therefore, that you will take this as seriously as me. I promise you, I was lying in my room saying, Lord, I cast this burden on you. I cast this burden on you. Help me, sustain me. So do like me, help me, encourage me by doing likewise and cast your burdens on the Lord. And maybe even send me a testimony of how this has helped and encouraged you. And as I say, if you want a sheet so that you can pray this for your loved ones also, just let me know and I will happily email you one. So God bless you, and until the next time, thank you for listening.